Just a really candid moment with Coach about a topic that just gets me fired up and gets really under my skin. And I think we live in a world that's sugar-coated. And as much as I'm a individual, being a strength and conditioning coach, where I enjoy empowering and motivating and encouraging and lifting people up to a different place in their life and making it feel like something is truly achievable and attainable, especially when it comes to their health and fitness, because that's ultimately where I specialize. However, it is really a life coaching role as a strength and conditioning coach, because you are dealing with what's between the ears. And we are living in an obese society. It's epidemic, it's pandemic. We know it and we hear it all the time, especially here in the Western world. But I think the real problem is that we're obese between the ears. We have a big lump of fat between the ears that really gets in the way of us maintaining success in our personal lives, relationship lives, and health and fitness lives. And that is ultimately completely affected by a lot of different stress factors, from governments to your environment, to your relationship, to financial, and keep going and keep going and keep going, you know, and what we feel that society is expecting of who we should be and what we should look like. Especially touching on the environmental stresses. I mean, one of the things that can affect the kind of person we are, we don't have control over the environment that we are born in. We have no choice who we pick as parents. However, there's a certain time in your life where you are able to mature and break free from that and become your own person and start making the choices for yourself that are for betterment. So the thing that really gets in the way for people ultimately is allowing these things to take control over their lives. And that fat that starts to congeal more and more with those self-limiting and sabotaging thoughts and feelings, which are, ultimately stem from our everyday lives. We don't have a choice what city per se we live in, but in a sense that we also do. If we wanted to live in a different city, we could, in order to change, our level of happiness, if that's what we're looking for. But primarily touching on fitness and fitness goals. Yeah, people are always, the core common denominator, having worked with thousands of people over the years, whether it's a pro athlete, university athlete, to a person who's coming back from a hip replacement or knee replacement, seeking to capture that quality of life that they had prior to their injury or their trauma that may have occurred from an accident, is that people inherently want to fail. And what really gets to me is that we are individuals of intellect. We are individuals with empowerment. We are individuals with the ability to make decisions and choices. We have all kinds of information at our fingertips, whether via the internet, whether it's books, technology, that can all promise us a better quality of life. But the better quality of life has to start between your ears, in your mindset, in the way that you think. Because I can give you all of the best technologies, you have all these products out there that promise to, shape your abs quickly, to burn fat. You can, people go in the home shopping network all the time and spend thousands of dollars on products that get to their place 6 to 8 weeks later, stay in the box, maybe come out of the box, make one, small cameo appearance and never to be used again. And people who are those people, which is a massive percentage of the people out there, and you know who they are, they are always trying to make this fake promise to themselves that this time is going to be different, this time is going to be different. But the fat between their ears is still there. It hasn't been melted away and replaced with the right matrix of thought, if you will. And I'm kind of going on, and I'm very fervent about this topic because it does get under my skin, especially that we are intelligent, that we have the ability to make these choices and to make change. And the thing with Hybrid Strong, and where we're really passionate, is we ultimately try and remove all the obstacles and excuses that people will always come up with. So once all these obstacles and excuses are removed for you, then what's left? You're left with a very, very, very real choice of saying, okay, there's no reason why I can't do this. Yet there are still the people who go and say, well, I'm not going to do this. So that becomes a bigger problem. But that's okay. I'm going to get into that in a second. So The people who are ultimately looking to change their lives and their level of well-being and level of fitness are the people who are going to start thinking differently and start replacing them with new non-self-limiting or sabotaging thoughts. And that's awesome, because that's where it starts. Now, if a person decides to understand that now the obstacles have all been removed, like I was saying earlier, it's like, I don't have a gym to go to. I can't afford a gym membership. It's too far. I am too tired most of the time, or I'm intimidated when I go to the gym. I mean, you name it, the excuses are many, 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 many. So at Hybrid Strong, we really work on trying to eliminate all that, so you're left with the very real choice of saying, well, if I don't have ultimately 20 minutes out of my day, which is 1/72 of your day, which is what we call you o'clock, time for you, time to take care of yourself, then you're really not interested. And that's where you're going to be left with the product that you have presently, where you are at now in your health and fitness status, and it's only going to get worse as time passes. And that is on you. There's nobody else. There's no finger pointing here. There's nobody else responsible. You know, it's because of my mom or my dad or my spouse. You know, I'm not supported, I'm not encouraged, blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of that crap and reasons. Listen, I have all of my reasons and my own personal stresses in my life that get in the way, but I just keep on moving forward because I replaced many, many years ago that big lump of fat that I had in my head with something else that works, and that it's not an all or nothing either. There's people who say, I want that beach body, and they work really, really, really hard during the springtime so they can look on the beach and then, or somewhat better on the beach because they think they can cram for a test and look better all of a sudden. And then they're kidding themselves, and then what happens is when the fall hits, they just go back to being couch potatoes and just have that cycle over and over again. I don't know. Forget about looking, you know, like a person on the Oxygen magazine or a Flex magazine. I mean, if that motivates you, great. You better work damn hard and consistently and nutritionally to achieve that. But it doesn't have to be that. What about just, you know, having a little bit of time each day set aside for yourself so you can just feel better, feel stronger? And we all know that exercise ultimately has a tremendous and profound effect on the way you think and how positive you are and how you feel about yourself. Now, I want to sort of, you know, shift gears and get into a little bit more of the psychology behind why people fail, why people insist on failing, and why people seek to fail. Outside of those big stresses that I mentioned at the beginning of this little candid moment about you know, training and people's health and fitness, and you know, governments and stresses and finances and everything else, which Hybrid Strong likes to remove all those things, especially the financial stress of being able to have the right tools to change all that for yourself, is people are content not making choices. People are very happy, is what I call the people that are basically, they're maybe people, the people who set up fence after fence after fence after fence in their lives, you know, almost daily, to sit on, to not have to look left or right or choose A or B and make no choices whatsoever. But what those people don't realize is that that is a choice in itself. It was what I call paralysis. You're paralyzed. You're not doing anything with your life because you're terrified. You're afraid that you're going to fail because you maybe have tried maybe for 3 days in the past and you've not gotten the results that you wanted immediately, thinking it's going to happen overnight, and it doesn't. And that's another thing that just takes me off, is that people have an expectation that it's supposed to happen like that. So once you accept the fact that it's going to be hard work and it's going to be, you know, a step at a time, and you're not looking at, you know, 5 years from now, you're just thinking one day at a time and being content, and that's all or nothing, then you start, you know, realizing that it's more possible. So back to sitting on the fence people, you know, the maybe people, the people who throw out a maybe out there, it's, you know, it's like you might as well be speaking Klingon to me if you say maybe. But somehow in those people's heads, it's saying maybe is almost like it's close enough to a yes, so it almost sounds like they're proactive and they're actually going to be doing something, but yet the day comes and nothing's done. They're still sitting on that fence. They're still perched there, and time's passing with or without them. And that's what kills me, is that in itself is a decision. So if you're sitting on the fence and let's say you want to, you know, change your mindset, you want to pick A versus B, and you go down the road of A, and it's not quite working out for you, but you're learning something along the way. It's not failure. It's not all of a sudden thinking to yourself, see, you know what, I should have just stayed on that fence, you know, where I was really happy. Then you switch gears. You can take the other fork in the road and go B, and then B may be something else that works better, but always be the student, always looking to try at least, because eventually you're going to piece something together that really, really works for you, and you're going to look at those fences that you used to sit on and they're going to be gone. and you're actually going to be promoting a change in your life. And I'm really adamant about that topic about maybe, because another part of that psychology with those maybe people is the paralysis, is what I call it, is that you're happy to be off the radar. So if you're there, you're invisible, you're off the radar. But if all of a sudden you start showing, I don't know, there's a change in your attitude and you're more positive at work, or you're more, let's say, communicative and better in your relationship, and that's something new for you, then now you're demonstrating that you're capable. So that means now, oh my goodness, I have to keep this up. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, can I keep this up? Can I allow myself to be held to this expectation? Oh, John started this 30-day challenge the other day, and he's 3 days in, and then so now the expectation is, if John's like, oh, let's see, I've got, let's start a little, we'll say a little hockey pool on the side, and that I have money on John quits halfway through, and that's also the little hockey pool that these maybe people have going on in their heads. They're already betting against themselves. So enough said about that, because the point I'm trying to make is, in this day and age, with all the information, all the empowerment that we have, and all the ability to make the choices to change the status of our health and fitness, working really hard our whole lives at a career, always chasing the next material thing, and people say that fitness is expensive. Whether it's personal training or buying a DVD set or a treadmill. Yeah, it's expensive if you're not using it. It's expensive twofold, because it's expensive in the sense coming out of your wallet, but it's expensive because it's also sitting there and costing you the value of your health, and that's slowly eroding. Versus if you actually make this investment, whether it's a $400 DVD set for training and fitness, well, people don't look at the currency, the life currency that's giving them long term. So anyway, just want to spend a moment talking candidly about what I think is the epidemic today, truly, which is the obese epidemic, which is the fat that resides between people's ears that gets in the way. Anyway, for what it's worth, thanks.